Karl-Anthony Towns spent the first 9 years of his career in Minnesota, and for the most part, it wasn't all that bright. There was a random first-round exit in 2018 with Jimmy Butler, but it wouldn't be until Ant arrived that KAT could see real success. Minnesota had 2 first-round exits in the past 3 years and then a conference finals appearance against the Dallas Mavericks. With the Gobert trade, Finch required KAT, the sharpshooting 7-footer, to play at the 4 and adapt. Could this be part of KAT's offensive explosion this season in New York? With Gobert planted in the middle, Towns needed to roam the court and get creative to space the floor and get his shots. Minnesota decided to make a financial decision to get rid of KAT.
The New York Knicks right now are solidified as a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference.
Pick and pop player who can shoot the ball in any position of the court. Turn and catch, turn and post.
KAT can move the ball so much better and does it so much more than Julius Randle.
Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, and hell yeah, they got enough to make a run to the NBA Finals and look at the Celtics eye to eye.
Trading Towns for Randle and DiVincenzo didn't seem as big of a step back in the standings as it turned out to be for the Timberwolves. Meanwhile, Towns is having a career year. KAT is averaging 24.6 points, 13.7 rebounds, and 3.4 assists this season on 54, 42, 84 shooting splits. So he's just shy of being a center, averaging 25 and 14 while being in the 50, 40, 90 club. The 29-year-old is apparently much different this year, even going back just 1 year where he averaged 21.8 points and 8.3 rebounds. One of the key differences for KAT on offense this year is playing around multiple ball handlers and sliding back down to the center position. Instead of ball movement purely relying on Edwards and Conley, the Knicks have an all-NBA level point guard in Brunson, surrounded with Bridges, OG, and Josh Hart. Towns is second in the league in rebounds, behind only Sabonis at 14.5 a game. His 13.7 is a career best and a massive upswing from last year's 8 a game. Because Towns isn't just the second best rebounding center this season, he's also the second best scoring one. At 24.6, he's only behind multiple-time MVP Nikola Jokic at 29.7. KAT will always have his faults on the defensive end, but his offense has reached an undeniable superstar level. Whether it's his shooting or timely rolls to the basket, there's almost no way to stop this New York offense when Towns is on the floor. The New York Knicks currently have the second best offensive rating in the league, thanks in large part due to their newly minted all-star starting duo Brunson and Towns. They're the first Knicks duo to be named all-star starters since Walt Frazier and Earl Monroe in 1975, both who were key contributors to the Knicks' 1973 championship. In the past few years, New York has been a team that relies heavily on isolation. In recent years, it's been Jalen Brunson, but you could even go back before him and look at the Julius Randle years. But now the team has morphed into a movement-heavy offense that consistently finds open shooters or cutters. Having guys like OG and Mikal locked and loaded in the corners is a luxury few teams in the league have. If they're open, they'll knock down the shot, but if the defender closes out, both players can drive in for another kick out or even create their own basket. And then there's the unsolvable defensive question of a Brunson and Towns pick and roll. When both players involved are great shooters and finishers around the rim, the defense is tasked with picking their poison. Fortunately for the opponent, the Knicks are equally as unlikely to get a stop when they play defense. Having head coach Tom Thibodeau has usually meant an elite defensive team that grinds out games, but the flip side of KAT fitting like a glove on offense is his underwhelming fit on defense. The Knicks are around league average at 13th in defensive rating. What can't be covered up is the lack of interior defense. Towns isn't as oblivious of a defender as he used to be in his early years, but it also doesn't seem like Gobert rubbed off on him too much. Despite this, the Knicks are third in the East and their overall net rating is only behind that of OKC, Cleveland, and the Celtics. So they're still right up there with the league's clear contenders. And as we start to look at New York's playoff hopes, how do they compare to the teams in the East? If the playoffs happen today, the Knicks would play the Heat. With the Jimmy Butler drama that has been going on with the Miami Heat this whole season, it's probably safe to assume New York would quickly advance. That means the second round would most likely be a meeting with Boston. This is where things get interesting. The defending champs would be no cakewalk, but the Knicks starting 5 matches up well with them. On offense, it would come down to how well Holiday or White can slow down Brunson and if Porzingis can stay on the court. If Porzingis is injured, Towns could feast down low against Al Horford. With few centers in today's league that are as offensively gifted as KAT, he'll be the X factor for New York's postseason. But mentioning Kristaps and his battle with injuries, we can't ignore what happened to the Knicks last year in May. The roster limped its way to the second round exit, and it's important to talk about one of the key contributions to that. Thibodeau isn't just famous for his defensive mind. Many argue he puts too many miles on his star players during the regular season, which leads to fatigue or injury come playoff time. This year, 3 Knicks are in the top 6 for the most minutes played per game. Mikal is first, Hart is third, and OG is sixth. Brunson and KAT round out the team at 23rd and 28th in the league, respectively. Tibbs is risking a ticking time bomb by playing his starters at least 35 minutes a game. Boston has Tatum and Brown in the top 30, but neither in the top 10. Meanwhile, Cleveland's closest is Donovan Mitchell at 70th in minutes per game. But if the cards fall right and there's no injuries and their defense rises, how will we be talking about Towns after watching him in the finals? He's already forced a narrative shift after last year's conference finals run, from being a guy many analysts described as not a winner to a key piece for a contender. Now we sit at halfway through the season and there's an argument that he's a top 3 center in the league, a guy who a team can expect a 30-point, 20-rebound game multiple times in a season, someone who can help win a championship. He's a real winner. But what do you think? Has Towns fully unlocked this New York Knicks team? How far can he take them? If you made it this far in the video, answer those questions in the comments and start the conversation. As always, thanks for watching, have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.